working with WWF just to make sure that whatever we have done, we can validate it. Because there is no value if you can't validate it. And the biggest problem which we face right now when we are working with, say, RSPO and UDR, is we recreated our technology platform to validate that whatever we are doing is sustainable. But essentially, when we went outside with the international organization, we realized that it requires some tweaking, which is unfortunate in the sense that it's better if some kind of a regulation or some kind of baselining is there for the industry. Because otherwise, what happens with us is you create something and then you start tweaking it, which is obviously a hassle for the industry. So that's how we are taking care of.
Thanks, Diptanshu. I had a tough time convincing Diptanshu in this forum because he asked me why you are taking me in front of bankers and see how important the traceability issue is for bankers to understand. Now, this everything has become so important for everyone to understand who is invested in this sector. They should understand where you are sourcing. They should understand what kind of standards you are maintaining. They should understand soil quality, water, everything, so that their investments are risk-free, so that matter they're investing in. So thanks. My next question is to Vivekanandan. We had a discussion on adaptation-based project once, and we are still looking forward to work together with Sumbunati. High regard for Adarshi, and he has been obviously a corporate here. So my question to you is, access to finance to agro commodity sector has been a game changer. We all know that. And at the same time, its linkage with climate adaptation have not been clearly identified from a financial perspective. How you as an organization, Samundati, being at the forefront navigating this?
Sure. First of all, thanks to FICCI and WWF for inviting Samundati to be a part of this forum. So as you all know, Samundati Finance focuses exclusively in the agri value chain. We finance farmers, farmer producer organizations, and agri MSMEs. I'm delighted to share that last week we had issued 500 million green bond in Indian domestic market. We are the first organization in the agri sector to issue it. So I'll share the story. It's been a 1 year journey, and it will kind of address the point that you are trying to understand. Like Dr. Singh mentioned, what qualifies as green and what qualifies as not green is the fundamental problem that we are trying to solve. A lot being said about the risk, but this is largely an opportunity for channeling climate action or channeling climate finance to farmers, farmer collectives, and agri enterprises. So what we have done, there are a lot of international taxonomies. Climate bond taxonomy is the well-established and mature taxonomy in the world right now, and there is ICMA green bond principle. So we have taken these taxonomies and adopted them for our retail loan. The biggest problem that we faced is lot of taxonomy talks about project financing. Project financing, the end use is very clear. You finance a project and the money goes directly to project implementation. Whereas we operate in a space which is for working capital finance, money being fungible. How do you ensure that the money has gone to the end use, the typical and specified end use? That is a core problem. How do we ensure that the money has gone for a green or a climate action activity? When I say climate action, both climate mitigation and climate adaptation. So how did we develop this practical framework? We developed our own sustainable finance framework. This is now being vetted by a second party opinion as well. So the guiding frameworks are climate bond taxonomy and ICMA green bond principle. So they have stipulated what qualifies as green and what qualifies as not green. And when we develop the sustainable finance framework, climate mitigation is very clear to a certain extent, and it is crowded by energy, decarbonization. But in the agriculture sector, it's not energy. There is a lot of things beyond energy. If I have to give you an example, there is, in terms of biofertilizer, biofuels, alternate to fossil fuel alternate materials, these are all having high traction in the agri market. But energy, decarbonization of energy crowds out other activity from a mitigation perspective. Then comes climate adaptation. Nobody talks about climate adaptation. Also, it's very difficult to isolate climate adaptation as an activity in itself. It comes either along with mitigation. Some of the climate mitigation activities contributes to climate adaptation. To isolate and say that look, this activity only brings about climate adaptation is a bit difficult. Nevertheless, there are climate resilient crops, improved crop management, improved breeds, disease resistant varieties. So these are all improved varieties. So this comes under resource efficiency. How do you produce more with less amount of resources? So yeah, coming back to the point. So as an organization, we have tackled this problem on two fronts. One, we have identified what qualifies as green, both climate mitigation and climate adaptation, and then we have channeled the finance to it. As an organization, we had a book size of 1,400 crores, FY24. We are happy to share that out of 1,400, 18 to 20% were aligned to green. This is international taxonomies, roughly about 250 to 300 crores. That gave us the confidence to go out in the market and issue a green bond. And like I said, we are delighted to share that we are the first organization in the country to issue a green bond. So yeah, so climate adaptation is a bit tricky. Green is again under a number of climate mitigation and climate adaptation. So climate adaptation on an isolation is very tricky, and for a retail loan or a loan where the fungibility is there, it's very difficult to ensure the end use. So that has been our experience so far.
Thanks. I mean, you cannot be more correct. Adaptation is an area which is still to be understood well by the ecosystem, and of course the idea today is the same. To speak more about it, speak more about it, and of course we heard the chief executive of IDA speaking in the morning that the role of the community to tell everyone about this is imperative. So my next question is to Deep. Deep Narayan Mukherjee comes from BCG. He is partner and associate director data science over there. So the question, of course, is specific to him that data being so critical, and we heard that is something which quite a time is missing. How you are integrating climate and nature related aspects of agro-commodity space? How will advancement in public digital infrastructure and better data analysis shape the future of climate and nature investment in this space? What do you do?
So, the climate concern is, I think, very real, and I don't think there are two ways about it. But when I look from my banker's strength, you appreciate the banker's plate is already more than full. I mean, every other day, a new regulation comes in, a new compliance comes in. So, individually, a banker may be very aligned to climate, but in the grand scheme of prioritization, that may naturally not come up, even though it should. So to make matters very real for Indian banking, let me